Hello, girlies. How are we all doing today? Today we're going to be chatting about how to diagnose IBS because I know how confusing it is and I get a lot of emails every single day asking, but what if I don't have IBS? How do I know? How do I diagnose? What do I ask my doctor? So I want to take away that confusion today and dive deeper into that. I'm currently in Dallas, so don't mind the different backdrop today, or the planes that are going to be flying by quite frequently. But for those of you that are new here, my name is Laura Martin. I'm the creator and founder of Healing to Happy, where I help women around the globe to heal IBS using the gut-brain connection. So breaking free from being trapped by low FODMAP or elimination diets or supplement regimes or any of that kind of stuff, and really using holistic practices to get to the root cause, because a healthy body can digest all types of food. It's just figuring out what's going on. But if you are someone that has been struggling to figure out what even is IBS, do I have IBS, we're going to be diving into that today. But before we get in there, I want to remind you guys, I do have Gut Started Roadmap calls. So if this kind of touches on where you guys are at and you have more questions and you want to dive into it, I've opened up a few spots every month to spend 30 minutes to put together a game plan for you guys on what to do next, answering your questions, discovering your roadblocks, and then putting together a game plan for the next 30 days so you can have the quickest, most sustainable results. And so I want to dive into IBS because, one, it's confusing, especially when you go on the internet and you're looking up, what is it? How do I get constipated sometimes, or I have this kind of thing. How do I manage it? So IBS actually affects 10 to 15% of the population, which is probably why you are in this group. You may or may not be someone that is struggling with it. I know I did for over 10, 13 years of my life, feeling really trapped by what was going on, because at that time, gut health wasn't as sexy as it is now. And then I just also felt very brushed off by doctors, and every time it was either something was made up in my head or they wanted me to cut out a different food group. And coming from a background of struggling with an eating disorder, cutting out major food groups just wasn't my jam. And so knew there had to be a different way. But the difference between IBS and just having some digestive issues is that it's chronic and then it's been happening long term. So it happens often. And what I often see with my clients is that they'll be having constipation or diarrhea or just some type of motility issue. And it was kind of iffy, it wasn't that bad. At least that's how it also was with me. For a lot of the time I was I'll just pop some Miralax, it's totally cool. And then we go along this whole route, and then it starts to get really painful, and it starts to impact your day-to-day living and starts to, take away from your social life and just impacting your lifestyle. And that's where we're at when we hit IBS. It's not just the standard, okay, I'm a little bit crampy here, or I don't go to the bathroom every single day, but it's now becoming painful and impacting your day-to-day living. So that sounds like you're in the right place, my friend. And so symptoms, like I said earlier, result in constipation, diarrhea, as well as you'll have inflammation, you'll have some pain like acid reflux, you'll have gastritis, abdominal pain, and bloating and embarrassing gas. Those are the common ones that I see. And this is when it becomes long-term, is when you start to get affected. Do you guys, I want to pop into the group actually and see, let's see. Do you all struggle with that at all? But another big thing is the laundry list of food sensitivities. And I see that a lot with the girls that I've been talking to recently, is it becomes a new normal when we're it's fine. I've just cut out gluten and dairy and shellfish and legumes and tomatoes and eggplants and nightshades, and the list keeps going on, because that's what you read on Google and that's what someone somewhere told you. I feel you. But when we start to become hypersensitive to foods, that's an issue, because a healthy body, like I said in the beginning, can digest all types of food. I'm not saying we're going to go eat pizza every single day of our lives and all that kind of stuff. But if you were to have pizza some days or not, and I know Bay was just talking in the group of just wanting to like eat snacks occasionally and be okay with it and not have to deal with the repercussions. That's the end game, right? Like picturing as 12 months from now, that's the picture of being able to have the holidays come Christmas time, being able to enjoy like the pies and the cookies and cakes in moderation, but without having to fear running to the nearest bathroom or our body kind of freaking out about us or freaking out on us. And so the first steps, if this is kind of sounding like you or someone you know, by all means, invite them to this group as well, because they can get all the free trainings and all that kind of stuff. But one main thing to keep is a food journal. And this and this is what the gut diary is. And if you guys want to get that, you can go to healingtohappy.com/the gut diary. I think I have to double check that. I'll put it in the comments. But tracking beyond just like the macronutrients, I get it. Like we got the carbs, we got the proteins, we got the sugar, all that kind of stuff that you can get on MyFitnessPal, but we want to be focusing on the micronutrients that your body needs so that it can calm that nervous system so it can actually repair. So what I emphasize with the girls inside my programs, inside my coaching, inside all of that kind of stuff is that you're taking the right steps in the right order. And so if you are just kind of looking at, oh, I got calories in, calories out, I'm hitting my macros, it's cool, but you're still kind of feeling like crap, you want to dive deeper into the micronutrients so that you can get a better idea of what's going on, as well as leading me to my next point is seeing a gastroenterologist is to make sure you show up to your doctor well prepared. Like your primary care physician is going to probably just give you an overarching diagnosis. I was actually on the phone with one of my friends yesterday and she's like, my blood work's fine, like everything's fine, and my doctor says I'm fine, but like I'm puking every time I eat, like what the heck is going on? And so if that's like you want to make sure that you see a specialist. Your primary is going to sit there and say, hey, this is what we think it is. But the thing with IBS is you don't want to think anything, because if you let one of these underlying issues flow out of control, you are going to then cause other health issues down the line. And that's not to instill any fear on you, but the thing with gut health, the thing with all health is you want to test, not guess. It drives me absolutely bonkers when people are just like jumping on parasite cleanse or doing elimination diets or jumping into all this kind of stuff without actually getting to the root cause of what's going on. And this is why we get trapped in it, because you're actually doing more damage to your body if you don't have those things long term. So if you're just jumping on these cleanses and wiping out these bacteria and resetting things, it's your body's gonna freak out. You're gonna feel good because you're gonna be on an adrenaline rush for like 2 weeks, but you're gonna cycle back through. And this is why you see people stuck in these elimination diet trends where it's like, oh, I cut out gluten and I feel good for 2 weeks, but now I'm sensitive to dairy and I cut that out and now I'm sensitive to eggs and dairy, soy and all these kind of things, and you get stuck. So make sure you take your food journal with you when you go and see your gastro and check in and make sure you have your questions lined up so you're getting the most of that. And you guys need more on that. That's something I do have, like a checklist and a guide that I give my clients, so you can jump on a call and we can chat through that, because we want to make sure that you don't have any past infections and all that kind of stuff that's going on, and making sure that's not like IBD or any of that kind of stuff. And if you don't know, don't be afraid to ask your doctor to clarify what they mean. You know I felt really self-conscious about that. Like I was just like, I would go, especially because I was in the process of studying this stuff because I want to understand it. But sometimes the words, I don't know what they're saying. Like they sound like dinosaurs. And I would pretend to be cool and then walk out of there being like, I don't even know how to spell that to look that up. And yes, doctors usually speak at a high language. Like I've been hanging out on Clubhouse and some of the panels with the doctors, I'm like I know this stuff, but it's still confusing. So don't be afraid to sit there and be like, excuse me, like, I don't understand that. How do you want me to apply that? What does that mean? What's the next right step? Those are really powerful questions to bring with you to your doctor. Like, it's okay that you don't know stuff. It's not expected to be on that specialized level. Some common tests that you'll see within your doctor, you'll get some blood work done. They could ask for a stool test. They can ask for colonic transit test. They can ask for endoscopies. There's a whole bunch of other stuff too. They do the breath test. If it's SIBO, it'll be They also do a lactose and glucose breath test. And they do some, what is it called? Anorectal something to test the function of your muscles and your bowels and your colon. So these are all different spectrums of what they're going to put you on. They're going to do the cheapest ones first. So they're going to start you with blood work, maybe an colonoscopy, all that kind of stuff to really test where you're at with that. And then if they're still struggling, they're guessing if it's SIBO or H. pylori or any of that stuff. That's when they'll get a little bit more expensive down the line. But just starting off, this is where you go. And then they'll give you your diagnosis. And this is why you want to go to a specialist and make sure that they understand, okay, so this is what's going on, not just guessing and being like, oh, it's IBS, here you go. And then down the line, you're kind of screwed. So not kind of screwed, sorry, that was aggressive, but you just test, don't guess, all right? And then after diagnosis, this is where I usually jump on the phone with girlies, is because you go there, did all the tests, all this kind of stuff. Mind you, as well, I did not say food sensitivity tests or a microbiome test, because those things are way, way, way too new and way too faulty. You can see people doing studies where they will try 2 of the same tests and they get massively different results. It's a waste of money, okay? Like the other tests, those come into play and they have been backed and been using for years. The other ones are just too new, and I do think they will be the future of science down the line. But if you are looking to actually get effective and efficient answers, don't waste your time, don't waste your money, because like I said, food sensitivities are just at the root of having a metabolic issue and a leaky gut. And so that's something you already knew before you even went, and so you're just wasting money. So following that, what they're going to probably suggest to you, what they suggested to me, what made me feel really disheartened, was just like, cut out FODMAPs and take this medication. It's very disheartening, which is why I ended up coming up with the free method, because it didn't make sense that if I was to feel good, why would I have to eliminate these foods? And why would I have to always continually cycle through elimination diets or taking new prescription? Or why would I plateau in certain prescriptions and have to take other ones? And just this whole mix and match game that came with trying to heal your body, it just not my jam. The one thing your body can do when given the opportunity is heal itself. It's just figuring out the right steps in the right order. So they'll probably say something along medications, which they're good for short term, not long-term approaches. You need to get to the root cause. Supplements, again, you cannot supplement a bad diet. You cannot supplement anything. You can add it into, like when I was moving house from Thailand, I had an entire pantry full of medication. It was bananas, as homie would say, but it was ridiculous. You cannot supplement. There are a variety of ones that I do recommend to clients, but I'm not going to do that over this call right now because I don't know you personally, but if you did want to jump on, we can walk through some options and stuff and kind of assess. But again, that's something I more so do with one-on-one clients. Because again, these phone calls are just for educational purposes only. I forgot to say that in the beginning, my bad. Other things that they will suggest is different kind of therapies. It could be like pelvic floor therapy. It could be cognitive behavioral therapy. It could be hypnotherapy. There's all that kind of stuff out there, but the one that I love is nutritional counseling. And this is when linking arms with a mentor or someone that could really walk you through all of this stuff that's specialized it makes the biggest difference. You know, like I chase different nutritionists, I chase different diets online, different programs, all that kind of stuff. But linking arms with someone that was specialized it was what completely changed my life and my trajectory, and now has become my life's passion. And so I invite you to look into that and picking someone you resonate with. Like you can find someone that is specialized. They love the low FODMAP diet, and that's something they can totally jam onto, and they know how to live it. They live and breathe that stuff, just like people with keto or people with whatever have you. But if that's not the trajectory that you want for your life consistently, day in and day out, don't link arms with that person. You want someone that is someone that you can sustainably stand next to, and that's the lifestyle you want to have as well. But yeah, looking at, because nutrition counseling is the most effective way of doing it. It's the way you put it into remission. That's the way I've done it. That's the way hundreds of my clients have done it. Completely put these things into remission when you take the right steps in the right order and figure that all out. I spoke really quickly. Sorry. Trying to get this in 15 minutes is kind of hard. But I hope that kind of brought some light to the confusion of what is IBS and how do we diagnose this and what can you talk to your doctor about, all that kind of stuff. But if you're feeling like I just sprayed a giant hose down your mouth and it's a little bit confusing, make sure you book that call at healingtohappy.com/roadmap call, and we can spend 30 minutes diving deeper into this and really making it a lot more simple than it seems to be on Dr. Google. But yeah, that is all for now, my friends. I will chat with you guys later. Happy healing.